All right, so we're going to go ahead and solve this equation. I've got negative 18 minus 3x equals 15, and I need to solve for x. So what this is saying is negative 18 minus 3 times something is 15. And if we use our inverse order of operations, I always like to draw a line down my equal sign. Anything you do on this side, you do the opposite to the other. The first thing I'm going to move is the constant, so I'm not going to touch this x. This is a negative 18 or a minus 18. The opposite of subtracting is adding. So I'm going to add 18 here and add 18 here. Remember, if it crosses an equal sign, it has to be opposite, okay? Negative 18 plus 18 is 0. So we don't need to worry about that anymore, okay? Then we bring down what we have here. We didn't do anything to this negative 3x. So that's negative 3x equals 15 plus 18, which is 33. At this point, if you're good with your multiplication tables, you can just figure out what number times negative 3 is 33. But if you're not sure, let's take one last step, which again will be to do the opposite. This is negative 3 times x. The opposite of a multiply is a divide. And so we're going to divide both sides, not adding 3, because this isn't a plus. This is just a negative 3 times x. So the opposite of multiplying is dividing. I'm going to divide both sides by negative 3, and it needs to be negative 3, not positive, because anything divided by itself is 1. So negative 3 divided by negative 3 is just 1x. So there's my last x value, is equal to 33 divided by negative 3, which is negative 11. All right, so in this problem, we actually have x's on both sides of our equal sign. Okay, so when that happens, before we can do anything else, we need to make sure our like terms are together. If they were on the same side, I would just add them up, but they're on opposite sides of the equal sign. So I'm going to have to move one either to the left or to the right to combine those terms together. So it doesn't matter which one you move. I'm just going to choose to move this negative 4x because I know I'll end up with a positive number when I move it to the other side. So the opposite of a minus 4x, and I'm moving the whole thing, not just the 4, the whole x term, I'm going to move over here. Negative 4x plus 4x would be 0, so I wouldn't have to worry about that anymore. Then I'll just bring down everything else, so that'll be my negative 3 equals, that's like saying negative 1. Negative 1 plus 4 would be 3x, and then I'll just bring down my negative 30. And now this is just a two-step equation that we were just doing. I only have the one single x, so I'm going to move my constant and then divide by the coefficient in front of x, using all those nice math vocabulary words. So I'm going to move the 30, and the reason I'm not moving the 3 is because I'm trying to get x by itself. So I'm going to bring the 30 over here. That'll cancel out. Negative 3 plus 30 is going to be 27, equal to 3x. And again here, if we're good with our multiplication skills, we know that it's going to be 9 because what number times 3 is 27. But if we don't, then remember when you're at the very last step here, you're just going to divide by that number in front of x because 3 divided by 3 is 1. So there's my 1x equals 27 divided by 3, which is 9. All right, so this problem has a distribution property we have to deal with, which means we have a number attached to a parenthesis. I can't move anything in here until I distribute this coefficient, meaning I got to multiply the 2 in. So I'm going to start by multiplying this 2 to 5y. So 2 times 5y is 10y. 2 times negative 2 is negative 4, or minus 4. Now, this 2 does not multiply to that 26. It stops wherever the parenthesis stops. I'm just going to bring down this 26 right here. Now, this is just a two-step equation, which means I need to move my constant and then divide by that coefficient in front of y. Okay, so I'm going to add 4 to both sides because the opposite of a minus is a plus. Remember, anything you do on one side of the equation, you do over here. Negative 4 plus 4 is 0, so that cancels out. this 10y will come right down here. So I have 10y is equal to 26 plus 4, which is 30. And here, again, I think that we're smart enough to do this part in our head, which is 10 times what number is 30? 3. But if we didn't remember that, I'm going to divide both sides by 10 because I'm going to divide this out. So 10 divided by 10 would just be 1. So y is equal to 30 divided by 10, which is 3. All right, so this problem has a little bit of everything. I've got a distributive property, I've got like terms on the same side, and I'll have 2 other variables I have to deal with. But we're just putting everything we did all in one problem. First things first, I got to deal with this distributive. So negative 5 times x is negative 5x. Negative 5 times negative 3 is positive 15. Don't forget about that. And then this parenthesis stops here. Nothing else has changed in this problem yet. So I have minus 3x minus 2 equals 45. I haven't done anything else there yet. All right, well now there's a lot of stuff going on the left side of this equal sign. But I'm not doing any opposites because nothing is moving across to the other side yet. They're all just like terms. So I have a negative 5x and a negative 3x. I don't do any opposites. I just add them together. So negative 5x and negative 3x is negative 8x. Well, now you'll notice I still actually have 2 constant like terms. I've got a 15 and a negative 2. Again, I'm not doing any opposites. Nothing is moving across the equal. So I'm just going to add 15 and negative 2, which will be 13 equals 45. So here's my equation. And now it's a 2-step equation. Negative 8x plus 13 equals 45. And by now, we've practiced enough of these that we should be able to do this no problem. I subtract my constant, divide by that coefficient in front of x. So minus 13 minus 13. And I am doing the opposite because I am going across the equal sign. So 13 minus 13 will cancel out. I will have negative 8x is equal to 45 minus 13, which is 32. So what number times negative 8 is 32? Well, if we're going, I'm not quite sure about my negatives, I don't remember, then I always just divide by that number in front of x. So divide both sides by negative 8. And yes, I'm dividing by a negative 8 because a negative divided by negative, that's how I get back to positive. So I will get x is equal to negative 4 because 32 divided by negative 8 is negative 4.